Live from the Northeast Georgia Business RadioX studio, this is Northeast Georgia Business Radio. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Northeast Georgia Business Radio. We are at the beautiful Empower College and Career Center of Jackson County on a beautiful spring day in Georgia. I have with me a special guest today. All my guests are special because they're all awesome. Mr. Derek Worley.
What's up, what's up?
Did I say that right?
You said it right.
Derek
Yep.
Worley?
Yep, you got it.
They tell me you're a real estate agent.
Yeah, I try.
But you're so much more.
It's so much more. I mean, that's just scratching the surface.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Like surface of what? I'm afraid to find. Never mind. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, you don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Community Professionals Realty, man.
Yeah.
That sounds like super important.
Yeah, we like to think so.
Well, why not? Yeah.
We're professionals, community professionals. It's funny because it's Community Professionals Realty, and then it's actually like DBA, Community Partners Realty. So sometimes I forget which one.
I was about to say, do you get confused?
Yeah, like sometimes somebody will say, well, who do I need to make the earnest money check out to? And I'm like, Community Partners or Professional. Well, either one. It's fine. It's the same account.
Will it cash, I guess?
It's the same escrow. It's the same trust account.
So you actually make money doing this?
Believe it or not, yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, congrats. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
hey, don't assume anything.
Listen,
You brought up earnest money checks. I'm just saying.
Oh, no. Let me be very clear.
Okay.
The money that I make is not on the escrow money. I'm talking about people trust me to help them
People
buy
actually
and sell
trust
real
you.
estate. Yes.
I've known you for a few months, and I trust you.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And
Ever
anytime.
since the shared chicken at Beef O'Brady's.
We
we
don't want to rip on beefs. They're local. We love them. But
hey, we paid for it. We ate it. It was decent.
But had I thrown one of the wings at you, it probably would have gave you a concussion.
I would have needed stitches at least.
You may not be with us anymore.
No.
It was early. It was early morning for them. It wasn't really their fault. We're going to go with that.
That's fair. We had to wait for them to open.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. Well, we were kicking the door in.
Yeah, and I think if you're buying, traditional wings at what 11:05. I mean, I guess we're the suckers.
But I always eat lunch early.
Yeah.
I mean, like breakfast is like 6 a.m. Right? My younger, wilder, much stupider days when I actually worked out often, I'd eat 2 lunches.
What's that like?
Which part?
Working out.
Oh, it's awesome. You get a high.
I need to start working out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I used to have a gym, but I got rid of it. I had to. They run me out of town. It was horrible.
I need to get in the gym.
Yeah, well, as you get old, you got to do that stuff. You're still young, man. You're still young.
Yeah. I'm as old as I've ever been, though.
That's true.
That's
true. Well, the alternative really stinks.
Does it?
I don't know. I've never experienced it.
I mean,
I wouldn't say
what,
they
35, 36?
Yeah. I'll be 36 here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 36.
So, So you're young.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Real young.
Yeah.
So there's millions of real estate agents out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced some real estate agents that were just absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
And some are really cool. Out of the millions of real estate agents, why does anyone want to deal with you? Other than you, obviously you're cool. Bad taste in wings, but we won't hold that against you.
I mean, lemon pepper, I think, okay. I mean, lemon pepper's a classic.
Bourbon, glaze, and I'm just saying that's where it's at. But why you, man? What makes you so different?
Well, that's, that's a good question. You'd have to ask the people that have entrusted me. No.
That's who we should have gotten in here.
Yeah, no, I mean, truly, one of the things that I do pride myself on is, and we talked about this earlier, even like my dad and my father-in-law have been very big in my life of making sure, my dad from a young age and then my father-in-law from, my early 20s on, and the importance of relationships. And just at the end of the day, knowing that everything in life is driven by relationships. And I think specifically within real estate, when you're helping people with, the biggest asset in their entire life, in most cases, that relationship is so incredibly important because, I feel personally that, when you're talking to the amount of people that, real estate agents talk to, people can tell, they can read and feel the genuineness or lack thereof.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
there's a saying, I know a lot of realtors have probably heard it, but commission breath, right? And so certain people
I've never heard that.
You've never heard that?
What does that mean?
So commission breath, when you're talking to somebody and they're thinking about buying or selling a house, and maybe you're talking to them or they're asking questions and you're answering them in a way that is clearly, you're not looking out for them, you're looking at that next sale. You're looking at listing. All you care about is the listing of their house. All you care about is putting them in this house. Maybe let's say, for instance, maybe a report is pretty rough, an inspection report, and they're asking questions. Instead of genuinely and thoroughly trying to educate them and get questions answered, you're just saying, look, it looks fine. And it's clear you're not looking out for them. You're just trying to get that sale, and that's an instance of commission breath. And I've had many clients tell me that, that the genuineness that our relationships building over time. I just try to make sure that at the end of the day that people feel like they're taken care of 100%, and that goes even past closings happened. And I've help people move after closings.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There was, and this is something that I think.
That's why I'm not a real estate agent.
Oh man.
I'm not helping anyone move.
Well, listen, and I'm an avid Atlanta Braves fan. I love
Braves.
baseball. Go Braves. And we actually had, it's a really quick funny story. We had, I don't remember if my wife got tickets or if you just showed up, but it was a Braves Fest prior to the season starting, and we were supposed to go to that, and we were all excited, me and my whole family, and meeting some friends. And I had a client that had closed on her house, and she had a lease back, and so she was leasing it from the new purchaser. Mm-hmm. And she had to be out. I think it was a day before Braves Fest and the day of Braves Fest. And I was so excited to go, and she called me just desperate. I need some help. I can't get out of here in time.
Did you miss Braves Fest?
I did. I never got to go to Braves Fest.
Oh,
I took
man.
the next 2 days and was helping her move.
Wow.
Her and her family for, 6-8 hours. And
Isn't that when your phone goes dead accidentally or something?
Yeah. It's
wow.
I was sleeping. Yeah. No, and I don't say that for any other reason, just to say that, I genuinely love the people that trust me.
You must.
Their largest asset.
You
right?
must.
And there's no commission. It's genuinely never even a concern for me. It's just making sure that if they trust me to take care of this, whatever it is, the sale, the purchase, the lease, that they're taken care of, period, point blank, at the end of the day.
Buying or selling property, unless it's under pressure or bad tenses, shall we say, it's probably going to be a life-changing event.
Sure.
It may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Right.
I know last summer, for those who got to sell high, and maybe they didn't have to buy something right away,
sure,
or buy something at all, they may never get that opportunity again, be in that position.
Yeah.
So they're trusting you with a lot. That's my point.
100%.
Not my wisdom of all this, because I know nothing.
No, and truly, I don't.
In other words, one-time shot, you can't screw it up.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, 100%. You're exactly right, and that's not an exaggeration.
No, I'm not exaggerating.
That is the absolute truth, and a lot of with me being, I'm 28 years old, with a lot of people my age working with me. There are a lot of first-time home buyers, and so the process of buying a home is completely new. They don't know anything about it.
Sure.
And I had a friend of mine that helped purchase a house one time, and he told me, he said, "Look, explain an appraisal to me like I'm 5 years old, because I have absolutely no idea what this is, but I know this deal hinges on that." And a lot of that, and I told him, he works in tires, and I said, this is a dumb question. I said, but is a wheel and a tire the same? As a tire goes on a wheel, right? And I just kind of made the point that I don't know jack about tires or rims or wheels, but I don't need to, because I got you. And in the same sense, a lot of this stuff, I'll educate you as we go, but don't feel like goofy for not knowing these things, because you've never bought a house.
No, you're not doing it every day.
Exactly.
No, absolutely.
But
that is why he has you, someone that he can trust.
Right.
Someone he can lean on. So how long have you been doing this? You're 28. You look like you're 14. That's a compliment.
16.
As you get 16, I mean, he did drive. I did see him drive, folks. So we know he is definitely 16.
I've got like a couple of chin hairs. Like
You
gotta
got
be
3.
16.
You got like 3. How long have you been doing this, man?
3 years this month.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, got into it in April of 20. So during the quote unquote heat of it.
So the heat of it. I remember the heat of it. So I guess you're enjoying this.
Oh, I love it.
Nice.
I truly feel, this is where God has put me, and I feel like this is, where I need to be.
This is
for
it.
Sure. This is it.
Well, sweet.
Because it gives me, the ability to truly impact people's lives and help them out, and just be out there with people every day. And it's different every day. So it's not like I'm just stuck somewhere doing the same thing every day.
Definitely not. So, what does a day in the life of Derek Worley look like? And listen, if you have to talk about someone, change the names and locations creatively, protect the innocent or not so innocent.
Yeah, no.
But what does a day of Derek Worley look like?
This is like a 20-minute interview. I don't think we have time. No.
Okay. What does your lunch hour look like?
Yeah. Right.
Is that easier? That's probably easier.
I stuff a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Nice.
No, I mean really, a lot of.
My point, but before you answer that, my point is you don't just sit at home hoping a phone rings. You're not just a listing agent. There are, and hey, I've known some great listing agents that can list like no tomorrow.
Sure.
But that's all they do.
Right. Yeah, when you're solely a listing agent and you have quote unquote inventory, you can just kind of sit back and let other agents.
Well, you're hoping that other agents.
Yeah. Well, in the last couple of years too, if you had a listing, it felt like you had a contract.
That's true.
You had a 30-day close. But
that's true.
No, I mean, I do. I represent a bunch of buyers, bunch of sellers, bunch of tenants, bunch of landlords, and so it's one of those things where my day to day is spent on the phone nonstop with lenders, attorneys, emails with lenders, attorneys, other agents, clients. Going and for instance, I have a contract we just put a property under contract in Helms a few days ago, and so they're out of state, and so they wanted me to be their eyes and ears. So I drove down to Helms yesterday and went and met with the inspector and took some pictures and videos for them, and going back in a couple of days to meet with a roofer and a contractor for a couple of repairs, and got a closing Friday that I try to be at all my clients' closing, just to be there to first-time home buyers specifically. They don't know what to expect, and if there is any sort of hiccup or anything there, I'm there to make sure it's taken care of. And so just truly a lot of logistical things, but just making sure that every step of the way that I can do everything I can to just relieve them of any worry or maybe questions or uncertainties they have about the process.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you mentioned first-time home buyers. Is that a sweet spot for you?
Yeah, I think.
I don't mean to be insulting when I say there's hand-holding.
No.
That's exactly, for lack of better term.
That's for lack of better term. That's exactly right. No, that's
kind of your deal.
It is. Yeah, I think that again. That's one of the things I pride myself on, is having worked with so many first-time home buyers that a lot of times, I'm even able to answer questions that they didn't know they had.
Exactly.
About it,
The anticipation's there.
Sure.
Of what they're going to experience.
Right. And so
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, and being able to just let them know, listen, this is how the process works. This is what we can expect. This is, especially when you're showing houses and and they find one that they love. If a lot of times if I haven't explained what a contract looks like and what the different points of a contract are, the most important kind of, the important sections of a contract, if that's not described to them up front, a lot of times it's like they love the house. They're like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
Right. Where
now what do I do?
Exactly. So a lot of times I like to even take, clients before we've actually found them the right home to dinner or something, and just take a contract and lay it all out and say, look, these are the most important factors, so that when we do find that house and they're like, this is the one, then we can go ahead and talk about exactly what we're going to offer, and they're not worried like, well, what's earnest money? What's due diligence? How does that? What is that? What's the average day for closing? What's closing costs? How much? It's all those different things where I try to paint that picture up front, so that when we find that property, it's like, all right, boom, let's go.
I'm with you. I'm with you. So, okay, well, let's generalize a little bit.
Sure.
Not just a first-time home buyer, but someone, maybe they bought their second or third house, but maybe second or third house over 20, 30 years, right? Not everyone buys a new house every year, every 2 years. What are some qualities, and we're generalizing, what are some qualities in a real estate agent? People will be listening to this podcast all over the country.
Right.
And they probably will never meet you and I. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, too bad for them.
I know.
Obviously.
They're missing out for sure.
I know. Roadshow. What do you think?
We should tour.
We definitely should tour.
It.
But in all seriousness, in just generalizing, what are some qualities of a real estate agent that the folks need to, one, expect and hopefully notice? I think expect may be a bigger term there.
It's a good question. What I feel is the most important, I think, when you're looking for a real estate agent is, number one, trust. That that at the end of the day, that not only can you trust them with the information they're providing you, but trust them with, again, one of the most important assets, more than likely, that you have.
Assets and opportunity.
Right. And, the other one is just finding somebody that, again, from a personal perspective, and it kind of goes back along on that same note as trust, but that they're cognizant of the market, they know what's happening out there, so nothing's really getting by them. And again, I guess that kind of goes back into trust, because you're trusting that, again, they know the market and they know what's happening out there, but really just somebody that's, active. They kind of have a heartbeat on what's going on, and that at the end of the day, that whatever they're, again, advising you or telling you about what's happening and what you can expect and different things like that, that they can take that to the bank and they can trust you. So, I mean, really, I would say, bottom line, I feel like somebody, because, and that's one of the things I learned very on in my career, and I'm still very early in my career.
Back in the day when he was only 24.
Right. Back in the good old days.
Yeah, back then.
20,
right? Right.
But I got to the point where, because this market is so populated with so many different agents, right? And you're going
super competitive business,
extremely competitive
industry,
right? And I had to ask myself that question, like, why me?
Yeah, why you, man?
Like, why the heck would somebody come with me over this woman or this man who's been in this market for 30 years, right? And I think fundamentally it gets back down to, like we just talked about, the relationship aspect. I think that, and there are certain people, everybody's unique and has their own preferences, but I think there are certain people out there that, myself included, a lot of times, if I've got somebody that, let's say they're the absolute best in the business, right? But they're freaking hard to get along with.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I just don't mesh well with them, but they're smart as a whip. But then I've got this person he knows his stuff. Maybe he's not, doesn't have the experience this guy has and doesn't have, 55 years in the business, but man, they're a pleasure to be around. Right. And they know their stuff. I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I do know my stuff, and I know I have a heartbeat on what's going on. But I want to make sure, because I feel like to be a successful agent, you have to have that period. Like you have to know what's going on. But at the same time, where I try to, make sure that I feel like I have a little bit of an edge, I guess you could say, is I think that anybody that's ever worked with me has been very adamant about, how appreciative they have been that, it felt so smooth and that I was a true,
well, that's
important.
No, that's important. That's very important. Your industry changes a lot, correct?
Oh yeah.
And you stay up with that.
Yeah, and I mean, what are the interest rates doing? What's what kind of market is it? And that's obviously kind of goes hand in hand.
I imagine the art of negotiation is very important.
Oh, extremely, yeah. And that's one of the things that I learned very on that I love doing. That's like almost like
really?
High. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it's it's a lot of times you get to a roadblock and it's like.
So is that when you realized you want to become a real estate agent? When you realized you could negotiate? I'm kidding. There's a question in there somewhere. I think.
Well, no. Listen. I mean, really, it was. I don't want to say this is how I got into real estate, but there was a point where I joke. I started like a small little consignment business, like in 2009, 18, 19. Where I was working at a company in Buford, like reselling switches and servers and electronic devices.
Gotcha.
And I was doing this thing where I was reselling these things for this, it was a company out there. And I did that for a couple of years. And so people would come up to me and be like, hey man, I've got a jet ski. Hey man, I've got a boat. Hey man, I've got a car. Hey man, I've got an iPhone. Would you sell it for me on a commission basis?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so I did that for a little bit, and I started this little business. And I remember this is kind of funny because it's like a full circle moment where I was in a parking lot at a thrift store, and I like to go in there and buy some stuff and resell. And so I was doing that. And I saw this car out in the parking lot and it had a for sale sign on it. And I thought, I'm going to buy that and then try to flip it, right?
Yeah.
But then, of course, I thought about it. I'm like, well, I don't want to pay for the insurance and all that. I just don't want to do it.
Right.
So I called the owner and pitched him. I called it time to consign at the time. And I pitched him the business. I was like, look, man, I'll sell it for you, and then I'll just take, a commission of X. Okay, yeah, if you could sell it. Well, I had a guy the next day come from North Carolina to pick it up and bought it. And I think I made like $500 or something,
Sweet.
But I met my wife for dinner that night, and I was so excited because it was the first.
You ate steak that night.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
No, it was actually it was pizza, but
it's okay.
Anyway, it was good pizza.
Pizza one day,
very
steak the next.
expensive pizza because I made
the pizza had steak on it.
Yeah, exactly. Filet. Yeah.
You dang right it did.
And I jokingly told her, I was so excited, and I said, I feel like I've sold everything but a house. And it kind of in that moment kind of hit me that I was like,
Why haven't I?
I actually would. Why haven't I?
Yeah.
So then I don't want to say that that's the moment that I decided I wanted to get in real estate, but I remember that being kind of a little like light bulb where I'm like, And so I started
Sounds
looking
like
into
it to me.
and,
or maybe it was just really good pizza.
oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if I can say the company, but
No, don't.
They're local. They're
Don't.
great.
Yeah, don't say the company.
Okay, we won't
Unless
say
they're paying us. Are they paying us? Yeah, don't say the company.
I won't say the company.
They're welcome to pay us.
I'll talk to them.
And we will talk all
The owner's
about
super
them.
nice. Yeah, we'll talk to
Yeah,
them.
we'll put their name on the wall. Just saying.
Yeah. Sorry, it is a long story, but
That's okay. We're
it
all
kind
we're
of
all about.
gets
You're
into-
telling your story. It's all right.
It kind of gets into
No. You're good.
how we got here.
Give me the most important reason before we get out of here. Give me the most important lesson you have learned in your 3-4 years as a real estate agent in the real estate industry. Give me the number one thing you have learned.
So
Shouldn't be a trick question.
no, there's
There's just so many.
yeah,
They're fighting to come out at once.
There's so many good lessons that like my dad taught me growing up that I've used in real estate, and then there's so many lessons I've learned within the real estate industry. And so I'm one of the most important lessons I think I've learned within the industry itself is one, don't look at failure as a bad thing. Like look at falling down as just you've heard the sayings of if you look at failure as a bad thing, then you'll never try anything new and you'll never
Right.
go out there. So I think that I always try to. There's times where I'll close a piece of property with a client and everything's good, but I'll look and be like, because a lot of times they don't know behind the scenes maybe something that happened that
Sure.
it was messy or something
You
like that.
insulate
But
them from that.
Correct.
Right.
I take care of all that so that they don't have to see that stuff. But I'm going, man, and I've had to eat, as my broker calls it, eat a slice of humble pie sometimes where, there's been times where the contract said they had to get a septic inspection and I didn't tell them about it. And we had said that we would do it. And I'm going, oh crap, I didn't tell them about that. Well, I'm paying for a septic inspection, and
Appears as you are.
exactly. And so there's times where I get done with that and I'm going, oh my gosh, like I'm an idiot, man. Why did that? But then I have to step back and go, well, you know what? That ain't ever happening again. I've learned that lesson.
It's okay to make mistakes. Just don't make the same one over and over again.
Exactly. And as long as you don't make the same one over, you're good. And so I think just making sure that, you're always learning with each and every transaction as in terms of real estate, as an agent, it's learning with every transaction and not looking at a quote unquote rough transaction as particularly a bad transaction. Just learn from it and make sure you don't make the same mistake twice.
Gotcha. Now you got a website.
I do.
What is that website?
It is DerekWorleyRealty.com.
.com.
You can add 3 W's in the
Yeah,
front
I
if
was
you want.
hoping you weren't going to say as young as you are and say www.
World Wide Web.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that? Derek, Derek,
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Worley, Worley, Realty.
That's right.
.com. You're on Facebook. You're on
I'm on
Instagram.
Facebook and
You're on the
Instagram.
Insta.
I'm on the Insta.
You
Yep.
want to give your phone number out?
Do I?
I don't know, do you?
I mean, is that normal?
Not really.
Okay.
That's why I brought it up.
Well, then, you can just go to my website.
Seriously,
or my Instagram.
go to the website. It's probably the best way to contact you.
Yeah, the website, or even Facebook and Instagram. You can always contact me there.
I got you.
My Instagram is Derek Worley Realtor, and my Facebook is the same, Derek Worley Realtor.
It's almost like you're a realtor or something.
Yeah, you'd think. It's
Crazy.
a weird last name, It just happens to be. My middle name is Worley.
That is that. I wasn't going there. Well, folks, he sells houses. He used to sell cars, I guess, once.
I
once.
don't even. At this point, the past is a past. We just leave it there, man.
Yeah, okay.
We sell houses.
You brought it up. I didn't bring it up.
Well, yeah.
Derek, good job, man.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
The thanks is for me, man. Thanks for being a part of this.
Awesome.
And for those listening, this is actually being recorded, and there are lights all over my studio. I'm waiting for a Delta jet to come landing.
I've got a client calling me now. So
well, see, they're listening live on the website, and they can't handle it.
I'll seriously, call her back.
Seriously, though, Derek, thank you so much, sir.
Tom, you've been great.
My music is somewhere. There it is.
There we go.
Thank you, folks. Thank you for listening to Northeast Georgia Business Radio. I'm your host, Tom Sheldon. Talk to you soon.